All right, y'all, what's going on? Welcome. Thursday afternoon, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, Bookmap stream. Before we get started, I will kick off as usual with the disclaimer. Material information and presentation is for educational and entertainment purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice or recommendations. Any and all statements made on this channel are the sole opinions of Options Millionaire and should not be taken as financial advice. No financial decision should be made based on the material shown here. Trading futures, equities, and options involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Any investor will potentially lose all or more of initial investment. Risk capital is money that cannot be lost without jeopardizing one's financial security nor lifestyle. Only risk capital should be used for trading, and only those with sufficient risk capital should consider trading. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Trading is one of the most riskiest and difficult tasks one can undertake and must be approached with extreme caution. Do not invest in money you cannot afford to lose, and do not take puts on a pre-OPEX strong green trend despite all of the negative data. Good deal. Good deal. Let me get the disclaimer off here. Boom. There we go. All right. So obviously we have a pretty consistent trend under low volume. So everything is incredibly green. The X sectors are very, very green. And despite increasing put buying on SPY, despite phenomenal amount of exposure lower, despite September, despite hot PPI, despite hot CPI, despite unexpected rate hikes in Europe, despite everything, the market's up. And up in a very big way. All of the X sectors are very green. All of the top 10 is very green. One of the greenest days overall in relative strength, and we've had in a while. Pump it up. And yeah, right now, as we speak, both the put buying on both Qs and the SPY is increasing. So they are buying puts into this rally, not calls. But we'll see what happens. Today is the first day in 3 weeks that I've been faked out. So we'll see how this thing moves. Did you see the 800 order at 48.50? Yeah, I saw that last week. They posted that last week, Friday, I believe it was. So, good stuff. 45.56. We have got a little bit of red candle here building after a very strong move still. We'll see how things play out. VIX is 13. So we briefly popped into the 12s today on the VIX. We're still holding about 13. We haven't fluctuated too much from where they were at the open. On Bookmap, there's a lot of liquidity building lower. 45.10. They've got 45.40. They have this guy shifting around here at 45.50. The 45 area as well. Is this a stream chat? Same thing it is every week. So I post a YouTube channel and the Discord channel. You could use either one. Either one. The Bookmap does not have, or the Discord does not have the video, but the YouTube does. So whichever one you prefer, it's whatever you benefit from. Bookmap on Nasdaq has a much lighter footprint on order flow here. We have a little bit coming on lower, 15.6, but this main level is up here at 7.50. So overall, it's really just kind of, I'm not going to buy a call up here. You know, I've obviously missed the move. I didn't expect this big of a trend with that kind of everything pointing in the right direction, but I guess that's how things roll, right? Everything points in one direction to go the other. But yeah, so I'm going to play the rest of the day very cautiously. Netflix is still down and falling, 403. And I'm just watching this thing. The VIX is still holding 13. On the money, 13. Let's see. And so far, we're up at about 50 points from yesterday's little afternoon dump. Crazy move. Are we getting rug pulled? I don't know. The data, obviously has been a little bit skewed to the downside this week. Today, they're popping things up. We are, 10 points above the morning high. So a very light trend since the morning level. And the big thing for me is when I see that type of bottom wick here, to me, out of all of this moves, this bottom wick here is the most telling. Right here. because the morning high is there. We have a nice little retracement. This was when I was looking at 4,500 puts. A nice retracement, and the second they hammer this under increase in volume, out of all of this crap right here, this one candle is the most telling. That tells me we're putting in a new high. This I'm not sure of. This we're putting in a new high, and up we go. Now, I don't know where we're going. We're at 45.58. We've already put a new weekly high in. We've put a new monthly high in. And now we're going to gun for August levels. So I'm new, so my interpretation of the day's anomalies are limited, but if the puts are expensive, is it possible that more people are jumping to protected puts, which gives it a higher cost? To me, I look at it as demand. When you see a much higher cost on one side of the chain or the other, that tells me there's demand. Now we know how market mechanics work is that if too many people are positioned long puts, the dealers aren't going to let those puts go in the money. And that is why the best trades you could take are the uncrowded trades. That's why taking puts at a very high bull trend on the macro at appropriate time day trades very well and pays very well because everyone is buying calls. You take a put and it sinks. Just like in October of 2022, everybody was jumping into puts. That was the time to take calls. The uncrowded trade is the best trade because of when the most market is long puts, the dealers are short puts. And that's how you get days like today. Another bottom wick, zero sellers on this chart at all. So they're going to keep on bidding this up and they're going to decay all of the puts on the chain. That's the only thing I'm seeing here. It's the only explanation for this. Because as I'm sitting there looking at it, there's right now the put, not only are there 6 times more puts than calls being bought right now, but the put buying is accelerating into this move along with on the Qs and SPY. So the only thing that's doing here is that we're driving everything higher to get these puts nice and short or nice and cheap, decay all these puts, especially the ones that are down at 432. And yeah, they're driving this thing higher. Even Bookmap, all the liquidity is lower. We have a little bit above 45.50, 45.42, 45.40, 45.30 down to 45.17, and then of course 45.10, which maybe those are tomorrow's levels, but it's pretty crazy. Does something change on the GEX tomorrow? I will take a look. I looked about 30 minutes ago and I didn't see any changes. Let me go look. Does it make sense to do some put selling? This morning it certainly did. Hindsight's 2020, right? The aggregate, nothing's changed. Going till tomorrow, nothing's changed. 440 is the max exposure. 432 is the lowest. And everything, all the collective is all around 449 and 450, which has been there all week. So when we're currently at 450 now, or 450 and a half. 44% of all exposure rolls off the books tomorrow, which is about 15% higher than August. I'm using Trady Ticks, Baby Mario. All right. 45.55. Microsoft is putting on a pennant sideways. TLT just put a new low of the day in down to 93. VIX is still creeping at 13. And the XLF put on a nice move. XLF was flat for the day, and they broke out as well to join the absurdity that is the X sectors at the moment. Heat map is pretty dang green. How's the Bookmap liquidity on Netflix looking? I can't show it right now. All right. We'll take a look at the volume here. So as of now, we are not too bad at volume. We're at about 60% of yesterday's volume. So those high volume spikes we had in the afternoon or late morning is what drove that volume count higher there on the move up. Another green candle. How much do I pay for trading ticks? I believe it's $50 a month. All right, another green all the way back up. So 2 candles to trickle down, 1 candle back up. So still no sellers in this market. It's all buyers. And they're going to creep on. They're going to keep on keeping on this thing. You know, first it was 45.45, then it was 45.50, then it was 45.52. Now it looks like 45.60. The 450 SPY range is the collective for tomorrow. A little bit out 451, but the most common level here is 450. The max exposure is way down negative at 440. Let me take a look at the open interest here for tomorrow. $446 is the biggest again. Do you have any daily volume percentage that you look for throughout the day to increase high-low volume? No, I do relative analysis. What's interesting, and I want to point this out, and this is the nature of the short-dated options. You see this GEX chart? That is the total amount of GEX expiring. It has nothing to do with strikes, just a pure amount on individual strikes. And obviously look at the skew between tomorrow. Tomorrow it's 45% of the entire book rolls off tomorrow. Before 0 DTEs, that chart looked much different. It was a lot more spread out along all of the OPEXs. But with the 0 DTEs, it brings in everything so close dated that it's literally day by day hedging requirements, day by day, which is why we get days like today. It's definitely been a master class in understanding analysis with the new introduction of 0 DTEs the last year. It's interesting to watch, which is why I think it's so important to have an options chain analytical software. I'm now stuck in a 44.95 put on SPX. It's going against me. Do you think we will come back down in the afternoon? Is it a 0 DTE? I've always been curious what you drink. Yeah, it's whatever sparkling water is on sale. There's like 5 different brands of sparkling water at Publix, and today it's Polar. Sometimes it's Spindrift, whatever's BOGO. I'm a glutton for BOGOs. If it's a 0 DT, me personally, I would cut it because right now you're looking at it. It's 10 points out of the money. We're going into major theta decay in the last 2 hours. I'm personally not a fan of holding 0 DTs like that. Not to mention, the most frustrating thing in the world is holding a put as this does this crappy little, low volume grind up crap. I hate it. So I'd personally just not ever even be in a trade. That stuff is acidic and will rot your teeth. Yeah. Probably. If you are going to hold it, then I would recommend at least selling premium against it, like turn it into a debit spread, or buy some calls, to offset it. Just wear a mouth guard. Yeah, I drink a lot of regular water, definitely. This is just whenever I'm having eaten lunch or something like that, I have one of these things instead of just regular water. But what are your thoughts on all-time highs? I don't think we're seeing all-time highs, but I've been wrong plenty of times. So what's up, Maddie? How you doing? What am I trading? I'm currently looking at SPX contracts and ES futures. Currently, no trades for me at the present. Actually, have no trades today at all. I haven't taken a single trade. I closed a trade. I closed a Netflix trade this morning for about 500%, but I haven't taken a trade. All right. So I've been really watching the fluctuations of liquidity all day today. And when we came on, we have this guy 45.10, 45.17, 45.30. Obviously, the book is skewed lower, so this is one of those days where you have to be patient. And one of the reasons I haven't taken a trade because it's been a little misleading, where we have a lot of liquidity posting lower and newly managed liquidity, but they're also posting liquidity higher, and they did so at 45, then 50, then 52, and then now 60. And it looks like they want to grab this before any kind of movement over, and that's if not even they continue to put on higher, because obviously there's no selling here. It's just creeping upwards. Every red candle you're seeing is simply selling to close. There's no shorting. There's no really propensity of sellers, not yet at least. Is this telling of anything for ES and Nasdaq? YM triple top. Um, Not at the moment. The most interesting thing is that even the lower end X's are rallying. Look at XLU right now. Utilities are just freaking going nutty the past couple of days. Energy, we know why they're up big green. Real estate's up. I mean, all of the X's are just absolutely just bright, bright green. Very difficult to short anything here with the market going completely green. And obviously, I would continue to look for long opportunities until we get some indication that sellers hit. One of the worst parts of holding a trade that's going against you is not being able to reset your mind for the next trade. Yep, opportunity cost. So you're so worried about that one stupid trade that you're not looking at the other side. But that to me that is the biggest detractor for close dated options is that you have so little margin of error. Because tomorrow, what if tomorrow is a 60 point red day, and if you would have taken a 2 week put, you could hold it for a day or two. But with this, I mean, 10 points on a 0 DTE might as well be 100 points on a weekly. Like you've got no margin of error. So once the trade breaks down, you got to close it. There is no hold on for dear life. For a 2 week or a 1 month dated put, sure, hold it for a day or two. Let it do its thing. Not for zero. Once the thesis breaks, you got to close it. How many times you've taken a 0 DT trade and it goes against you 30, 40, 50%? You're like, oh, screw it. I'll see what happens. And that thing goes to 100% loss. And how many times do that? And those things add up. Even if small position sizes, those things add up. And that's what kills accounts. Forty-five, 46, 45, 56. Spot Chem shows JP Morgan has a short call at 46.65 on SPX. Yeah, it's the collar. Buy the first pullback. Yep. Yep. What's the most percentage-wise you ever let a 0D to go against you? Oh, I mean, 100% loss. I've done it. But luckily, I mean, I always, 100% of the time, I'm controlling my position sizing of zeros. I trade zeros often. In fact, majority of my trades nowadays are zeros. But I never, ever let the position sizing go beyond 1%. Maybe like 1.5%. And that's the biggest difference. Whereas, if I get in a bind, at the most, I'm risking 1%. And then for me, if I take a trade, I'm not going to let it just get blown out. If I'm going to hold a put like this, I'm at least going to sell a put against it, or I'm going to take a call to offset losses. So that's just, that's one of the many, many benefits of using small position sizing is that you have a lot of flexibility to trade the other side of the trade. Why put yourself in a hole where you have no room to get yourself out? Does all future trading platform allow trading from charts? No. IBKR doesn't allow trading from charts that I'm aware of, at least. I don't believe E-Trade did. I was on E-Trade for a number of years. I never did it, at least. Unless they changed things in the past 2 years. Do the big boys use DTEs? Yeah. Not the way we do. A little bit of red. Yeah, successful trading is not about winning. Successful trading is about losing. It's about successful losing, if that makes any sense. The most successful loser is the best winner. Control your position sizing. Yesterday I did my first ever debit spread on SPY. I got a 448 call and I sold a 44. Now, see, I'm at 30%. Nice. I like it, Elix. Beautiful. I love that stuff, man. Love it. Best loser wins. There you go. The Biggest Loser, best book out there by Tiger Woods. Or The Big Miss. Started making a lot of money. I started thinking, how much can I lose versus how much can I win? Yep. Red candles. Are your stop orders limit or market? Limit. I subbed yesterday on a wrong email account and canceled, but I wanted to add it on my Discord. Just wanted to make sure I could have it swapped or refunded. Yeah, we'll refund you. I won't be able to swap it because the account is linked to an email. But, yeah. Just shoot me a DM in Discord. Seems like debit spreads are more forgiving. They absolutely are more forgiving. I think it's a fantastic way to trade. I found an incredible edge recently, and I'll become a multi-millionaire as long as I stay disciplined and never quit. Good. Keep it up. Don't ever quit. What platform can you recommend to start trading futures? I'm always a fan of IBKR, and I can only really recommend the two brokers that I've really used, and that's IBKR and E-Trade. I liked E-Trade. I needed something a little bit more robust, so I went with IBKR. For the most part, I do. SSDN, yeah. In my mind, I'm already a millionaire. There you go. Love it. You got to visualize it. Harness good, block bad. Up and down and around. Feel the flow. I did like them, but not for day trading. If I'm wrong on a trade, I don't want to hold, but for swings, they seem amazing. For what? It's amazing how even the best edge has a drawdown period. You just need to stick with it. Yeah, 100%. Right now, I'm on a bit of a hot streak. And, I know eventually I'll go on a losing streak or I'll go on, a cool streak. It just happens. Everyone goes through it. And I get through those periods through position sizing. Do futures replenish except to keep trading? What do you mean? Anything indicating the start of the sell-off? Not really, no. I don't have any big volume. I don't have any aggressive top wicks. You see this right here? This candle we talked about? That is a great sign of reversal. That is a textbook reversal candle. Transact right into demand. Wham, bam, bottom wick, volume spike. We go higher. I'd love to see something on the opposite side. Except, now, to comment on that, I will say it is more difficult to see a reversal than it is a reversal to the downside than upside. It just works differently. I actually saw a comment today that said, back in the 80s and 90s, and this was not from me, this was from Long-Term Trader, back in the 80s and 90s, I used to think that the analysis for going short was the same as going long except in reverse. I no longer think that is what they said, because there's a lot more that goes into shorting than is longing. That's why a lot of people don't even short, because it's a lot more difficult to short the market than it is to long. And I 100% agree with that. Because in my opinion, like the big old reversal to the upside, the three candles to the upside, the distribution is a lot more difficult to analyze than the accumulation, than the buy-ups. Futures account lets you keep trade versus cash account. Yeah, so if you've got an account, let's say it's got 30 grand in it, you could trade futures to your heart's content. You can keep on. You can trade it a million times in a day if you want. Open and close, open and close, open and close, open and close. Options, you're limited by your balance. I feel like it's way easier to make money when shorting. Easier is not the word I would use. It's quicker is the word I would use. When things start to drop, usually they drop quicker than when the market goes up. Because when the fear hits and the people start selling it, it's usually a wipe. And if you're in it, you can make money very quickly. But holding long term, it's easier to make money on the upside because the market always goes up. When you are up 50% and are willing to lose 10% with a trailing stop, if you then stopped out with a 40%, don't you regret it? No, I don't. At all. If you stopped out with 40% and the price goes your way, you could have made 100. No, not at all. It's because I know if I keep executing with trailing stops, all I need is 1 or 2 trades a quarter that's going to keep on going. Like yesterday, I've had back-to-back 200+% wins. Because all I did was just ride the momentum down, set a stop, and it keeps on going. And those are the easiest trades to trade because it just keeps on going. You don't have to worry about it. You give me about 50% profit and I set a trailing stop, I'm as calm as a cucumber because literally I know the market cannot do anything to take my money away once I set a trailing stop. Kick my feet back, sip on my LaCroix, and I watch my account grow. If I got stopped out, cool, no big deal. I'll look for another play or I'll just, count my stacks and move about the country here. Hey, green all the way back up. No volume, no sell-off. Set your trailing stops, don't short. Do your thing. You remember, there's nothing out there that'll make you accurately predict and trade the entirety of every trend move. There's nothing out there, so stop worrying about it. Stop worrying about, oh, I didn't catch the whole trend, I got out too early. There's not a single indicator, there's not a single trader, there's not a single algorithm unless you're in the know and you're a hedge fund and you're running the algorithm, or there's not a single Twitter account that'll help you catch the entire trend. That's not your job. Your job is to put on high confidence plays, manage the trade appropriately, and then eventually you'll catch one of or two of them that they'll just keep on going and you'll make a bunch of money. So stop worrying about it. Set your stops. You know what sucks even more than getting out early on a trend? Is when you're green, you don't set a trailing stop and it reverses all the way back down and wipes out not only your profits, but now you're losing on the trade. That sucks even more. I'm surprised you didn't take that trade you've marked up. Yeah, I wasn't sitting at the computer at the time. But I wish I would have. I got a feeling the market will be flat until Powell. I do think that we are somewhat in the ballpark of today's highs. I'm not anticipating a sell-off today, not anymore at least. I was, not anymore. I would say that somewhere in this area is going to be the high for the day. Just because of the 450 looks like the pin for the day. Is there a way to find out how the algorithms are going to trade for the day? No. That's the golden question. Yeah, about 750, Kit. 50 points higher on NASDAQ. Yeah, we'd be rich if we knew that. Yep. Show enough. Show enough. I've seen on one guy's YouTube he has something called CTS Timer Pro. Whatever that is just some sort of analytical software on TradingView or some sort of indicator. So it's based on the volume flow or something like that. There's no way you can learn how the algorithm runs. It's impossible. Not unless you're in the fund itself. Do I use heat map on TradingView? I take a look at it, yeah. So here is the TradingView heat map there. But what I'm using is just the top 10 right here, which, by the way, NVIDIA is getting smoked, funnily enough. Thought it was BS, but you never know. Yep. The daily volume across the board is low. Short squeeze? I mean, yeah, this is definitely an algorithmic squeeze here. I mean, look at this. They're bidding the market up a little bit at a time, And it's because of everything that we're seeing. All the order flow, for the most part, is lower. If you look on the 0 DTE flow, it's all put buying. If you look at the GEX, all the exposure is lower. So what they're going to do is bid this market up to decay all the shorts. That's what they're doing here. Caught me off guard too. I didn't see it coming. But hey, can't be right all the time, I guess. Are you still using an afternoon range? No. Do you share any swing trade ideas? I do, yeah, when I do take swings. Not very often nowadays, but that'll something I'll pick back up here in a bit. Visa getting dunked on? There you go. More liquidity coming on, 45.45. Coming on down. What about 1 DTE puts that expires tomorrow? I don't hate the idea. Coming on down, 45.58. NASDAQ is still holding up. Yeah, that's the craziest move out of all of this is the euro markets. And I think people bought into more of the fact is their CPI came in at single digits for the first time in like forever, more than the fact of the rate hike. And that's why, the European markets went absolutely exponential today. It's crazy. Why is Netflix down? Their CEO came out and says that their revenues aren't their ad revenue from the new plans they introduced are not doing nearly as good as they anticipated. Their revenues are not material, is what they said. So Netflix is getting pummeled. They were expecting some big time expectations for the revenues, and it's just not nearly what they thought it would be because their programming sucks. All right. Bonds are down and the yields are up again. So the yields are working the way they should with all this increased inflation. The markets aren't. Once again, it basically said we're going broke more slowly. Yeah. More slowly. Hunter Biden indicted on gun charges. Interesting. My strategy is just entering on the last day of the month and let the trade ride for the entire month, basically trading along each monthly candle. Well, what's interesting about that Portuguese dog owner, I'm assuming you own dogs in Portuguese. You own dogs over, you're a Portuguese guy that owns dog owners or female. What's interesting about that comment about what your strategy is that I think only 10 times in the past 20 years, there's been 2 red monthly candles in a row. So if you catch a red monthly candle, massive probability says that you go long on the last day of the month or the first day of the month and hold it, you're going to make money in that period. Opening range breakout trade, yeah. It's good stuff. 45.57 heading higher. And will ES come back down again? I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. Never. Yeah. $45.60 is the next liquidity level here for 541 orders. I just want bonds to finally just dip below 90 so I could start putting in some swings. That's all. I want TLT to drop temporarily more than any trade I could take on SPY right now or XPX. If I can get 89 on TLT, Daddy's going long calls. Like 8-month calls. That's what I want. Do I think 45.60 gets broken? It sure does look like it. Yeah, post it in the general. I'd like to see it, Jill. I'm always interested to read about y'all strategies. Now that we have taken out the monthly high, I guess we're not at monthly high yet, are we? For roll, adjusted for the roll, we're not at monthly high yet. I know somebody has mentioned that. So the 45.96 is adjusted. But we certainly took out the weekly high. So we've been consolidating here since 1250. So for going on about an hour, we've been in a 3-point range on ES. So I apologize for the dull action, but that's the nature of early afternoon trading. It's all math. I love it. Thoughts on ARM? I'll have to take a look at it. I'm sure with all that demand, the prices are going to cost you a arm and a leg. No problem. I spent roughly a month researching and developing this method. I probably should use it for a grad school project. There you go. Do it. 45.56. Man, they IPO'd at what, 55, and now they're up to 60. Interesting. I need to jump on one of these IPOs one day. By the way, TRTX, baby. Doing very well. Doing very well. I thought we were going to break above 8 there for a minute. $45.56. Garbage price action at the moment. 95% of IPOs fail to break out of the IPO price to the first year. Yeah. Tesla's the exception. Tesla's the exception to everything, dude. That thing's crazy. Do you think I'll be optionable? Do you think it'll be optionable in the first future or no? I don't know. And those things are I mean, at that price, usually it will be, but you never know. That's based on the demand for it. All right, so here is my thesis. I said that I do believe the high is already in for the day, plus or minus a couple of points on ES. 45.60 to top liquidity level here. The collective GEX level, the exposure levels here for tomorrow is about 450. And we're right now 450.4. Now exposure rolls over heavily tomorrow. Even the aggregate rolls over heavily. In fact, let's go to Monday. Monday is 450 collective down to max of 447. So everything is still in this ballpark of 450, 446. Now, obviously, it was a big old swing and a miss for me today in terms of price action, but That is my thesis there. All right. 45.55 coming down. Just a little bit. Watch the CVD, because the interesting thing about CVD here is that it's still green, but trickling downwards. It's gone from about 37.50 to about 2100. Nasdaq's doing the same, but still no volume though. I would look for volume pickup here in about 13 minutes, top of the hour. Top of the hour move, which unfortunately we'll have to sign off at the top of the hour, but I would keep an eye out for the top of the hour move. $45.54. Love the community built here. I'm a swing trader. Never considered scalping or Bookmap till I started a YouTube video. Amazing job. Oh, thanks, Joe. Appreciate the comments, man. And I appreciate the the look into your system. It's good stuff. I love looking at other people's stuff and a lot of other people's systems. It's interesting to me. We took a vote on you staying on until 4 p.m. Everyone voted aye. Yeah. I used to be on all day, every day, man. The first 3 or 4 months of this community, I was on open till close every day. It was exhausting. I needed a lozenge. What's Netflix doing? Speaking of which, 402. Netflix is about to put another low of the day in. Going down. I want to make an indicator when you have volume spike on the PC makes a cash register noise. That's a great idea. I want to build a community. Do it, man. If I can do it, anyone can do it. In my opinion, if you want to build something, then do it differently than everybody else. Do something different that provides value. That's anything in business. $45.54. We have a micro pivot at 45.53.75. It looks like we're going to attack that now. VIX is 1304. Interesting. Interesting. So the question is, do we take VIX calls? Do we take the VIX calls? I told myself I wouldn't do it again, but God. Ready to be hurt again. Yeah. Well, here's my thought process. Even if it doesn't, even with the not even saying that the ES is going to go down, with the VIX being at 1290, and with FOMC being on Wednesday, the volatility itself should pump up into the 14-15. So as long as you're not too aggressive, might be a decent play. Been a long time listener lurker. I was here since the beginning on Reddit. I remember those long stream days. I learned a ton. Just want to give you my thanks. Oh, thanks, Steve. I appreciate you being here, man. And thanks for the long-time support. It's hard to believe it's been 2.5 years already. It's been a blink of an eye, that's for sure. But I've enjoyed every minute of it, man. It's been fun. It's It's made me a better trader. And bottom weight, 45, 55. Top of the hour, 9 minutes. Wait for it. I don't know about y'all, man, but I am loving this fall weather. Love it. It's my favorite time of year. This is where VIX jumped at the beginning of the month. Yeah, right down here. Thanks, Steven. Appreciate it. 45.54, VIX still holding. And I will say, the one thing that was bullish today was the morning 0 DTE flow, like the unusual well stuff that was posting a lot of bullish flow. Now, I don't usually look at that stuff because it's a little misleading. In fact, the last time it was saying, like a couple of days ago or a week ago, it was saying it was extremely bearish and we still went up. So I really don't really pay too much attention to that unless there's any outlier data. And of course, to the afternoon, it flipped into a lot of put buying. Mine resets at a weird time, Tully. I've got it set for open, but it doesn't do it at open. I've tried resetting it, but it doesn't work. I'm going to have to pull it back another hour. Top wick. Don't get that very often. You want to hear something crazy? Little for those who are in the construction business. I got a quote to build a home, like a barn style home. They wanted $500 a square foot. $500 a square foot. I was like, you are out your mind. Steel framing? No, post frame. They were based out of Washington State. I was like, I'm good. Yeah, that's what I thought. I was exploring the options. They had a great design. I was like, man, this is really awesome. Yeah, you're crazy. Did ask me at the barn. I mean, it was gold plated. Gold plated barn. Am I going to build it myself? No, I don't have time. I could do the framing, but not much else. 45. So we've been here, 45.55. We've been here for this 4-point range for about an hour now. Wait 3 to 5 years. That's what I told Mrs. OM. I was like, I'm not building anything until the builders are desperate. They're going to come to me and say, I'll do it for whatever you want. Then I'll build. Thanks, Liquidity Lubu. Hey, did you change your name to Liquidity? Wasn't it always Liquid Lubu? Or is it always Liquidity Lubu? Yeah. Oh. $45.53. All I gotta do is chase liquidity. Nice. All right, so we're coming up on the top of the hour. Unfortunately, we haven't moved at all since the stream started, so I apologize for the monotony of the stuff, but sometimes that's the bed we get to sleep in. As soon as I leave, yeah. Top of the hour, yeah, definitely. Top of the hour. Let me go over to SPY flow. Let's see what we got. So the overall SPY flow has flipped over to bearish according to Tradietics. We just had a lot of puts roll in. Obviously, take that with a grain of salt. The biggest premium today was a $4.5 million put for October 20th. We had, a call, $3 million put block for 427 for November. So a lot of mixed crap here though. Spreads. And of course for Bookmap, if you're looking to hold this thing into tomorrow, 45.42 and 45.10 are the biggest levels here. This guy is the biggest one. It's been on there since the open. Netflix is 403.49. Coming up on the top of the hour. We need a good retracement to buy up and break that high. Yep, good liquidity grab. How much data does Bookmap use a day? You talking about like on the like computer data? I don't know. Every 3 or 4 months, I clear out all the files. I've got 1.5 terabytes on my computer and an additional 8 on an external hard drive server. Oh, I don't know. I've got 1 gig internet, so it doesn't really. I don't notice any changes, but. All right. All right, well, this is bringing up on the top of the hour. If you have any questions, let me know. You shouldn't, because today's been a pretty boring session. We do have liquidity lower, except for the 45.60. Everything is lower here. 45.50, 45.42, 45.40. We have this guy coming on at 35, and then, of course, 45.10 and the 45.17. So a lot lower. The GEX pin level is about 450. So I was saying that I think, in my opinion, we're pretty close to the high a day. If we do put another high in, it won't go that much higher, in my opinion. So yeah, tomorrow should be interesting. Keep a close eye on things. With the European market moving this much, let's see how they do at the Open again, at the European Open this morning or tomorrow morning, and we'll go from there. I do trout fly, yeah, I do. There you go. But yeah, hope you have a good rest of the day. Don't short until it shows you signs to do so, which we are getting a little bit of retracement here, but still low volume. So unless the sellers trigger here at the top of the hour, we'll see what happens. I'll see you all bright and early tomorrow for the server. If not, I'll see everybody else again Thursday afternoon, 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central.